Origin Chess Home CG reaction. This is the Russian government sent me this by the channel NFKRZ or no. Yeah. It's been a while since I reacted to this channel. Yeah. As soon as this popped in my home feed, recommended feed, and I read that the Russian government sent it, oh my god, I knew this was coming, right? If you've seen my reaction videos to this channel, right, I've been saying like, oh god, this is like Russian government is gonna contact him because he obviously left the country, and if like 1.1 million, like that's like a big, right, big subscriber count. So it's like a big Russian influencer in that way. So I don't know what the government sent this. Obviously, we'll find out in the video. But yeah, is it threats? Is it like toned down about Russian government, something this and that, or is it something about draft or something? Who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, let's say. Alright. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. I usually try to react to things that interest me, right? Because this conflict is like, it's pretty weird in a way. It's weird to me because it's happening in my lifetime. I'm literally, seeing it as it progresses. And yeah, channels like this is really interesting because he is Russian. He left Russia, right? And obviously he has not a good views on Russian government. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, is Russia going to ban him ever coming back or something? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in future? So let's watch it.
If you guys have been keeping up with the news about Russia, then you might know that not that long ago, Russia has passed the new so-called digital draft law, according to which essentially Russian males are now going to be able to get drafted into the Russian army basically by getting an email, as opposed to getting a physical draft letter and then having to actually sign it to be obliged to go to the draft military office. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then check out my video on the topic. I actually talked about this before. But basically, according to this law, a Russian male that received this so-called electronic draft letter must enlist in the army within 20 days, or they will be banned from leaving Russia. Well, these electronic draft letters are actually going to be sent out to Russian men through a kind of an e-government app known as Gosuslugi. Gosuslugi is essentially a super app which allows you to find out about your taxes, book a visit to a governmental clinic, order some sort of documents.
Wait a minute, if they don't enlist in this 20 minutes, they'll be banned from leaving Russia. Is that what he said? Like that's some kind of a like, oh, if you don't enlist, you can leave our country. That's like, I don't know, any kind of ultimatum, especially from something like government, has to make sense. It can't be just point blank threat, right? They have to like, oh, we're not gonna let you. It's like we're not gonna let you leave your home if you don't do this. Like, I don't know, man. It's like we'll ban you from Russia or something, or you won't be a citizen. At least it's like, oh, you're not a patriot. We'll ban you. At least that makes sense somewhere. We're not gonna let you leave Russia. How does that make sense?
From the governments, etc., etc., etc. And now, after the start of the special military operation, the Gosuslugi app is also used to disseminate propaganda. And believe it or not, guys, as a Russian citizen, I have also been getting these propaganda messages. Hello Blazers, it is your boy Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian, coming at you live from an Airbnb in Serbia. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about how Russia is using its e-governmental services system to message propaganda to its citizens and react to some of it, because I have received plenty. But before we get into it, I need to quickly explain what Gosuslugi is. It's essentially a website and an app which you're not really obliged to register in as a Russian citizen. However, most Russian citizens have an account there, because having an account there basically makes your life a lot easier in Russia. You can book a consultation with a doctor without actually having to go to the hospital physically. Using it, you can pay for like your speeding tickets, and there's more where that came from. And honestly, you guys know that I love to shit pretty much on anything that the Putin government does. However, Gosuslugi was one of those things in Putin's Russia that was actually sort of decent and modern. And since I have an account, Gosuslugi basically sends me a weekly mail of Z propaganda. So here I am on my mail, and for an example of a regular mail you will usually get from Gosuslugi, here's one for example which is like reminded me that essentially I have to pay my taxes until the 3rd of December. Or for example, here's an email saying that my passport is ready, right? So nothing too crazy, or should I say nothing too crazy. However, guys, like I said, when the special military operation started, the rhetoric of the messages that this app sends has changed a lot, and now it's a little bit insane. This was sent to me on May 9th. Wish victory to the warriors on the front. Hello, in the wake of the 9th of May, which is, the day of victory in Russia, the People's Front movement, which is some, Putin's youth type organization, and Gosuslugi are organizing wishes for soldiers on the front. The volunteers of the People's Front will send a postcard with the words of encouragement to the warriors in the zone of the special military operation. How to participate? Number
like how wives used to put in World War I. That was like whole thing, right? In World War One, family member used to send up posts and things like that as a encouragement or whatever in the, I don't know, no man's land, trenches, whatever. All right, seriously, I'm seriously concerned for him, right? Because I'm pretty sure I saw one of the videos, obviously he posted, and which he said like he has very little options, like which other country to go to. And any country he goes to is like a temporary thing; he has to leave or something, right? So I don't know. When he goes back to Russia, what if he's screwed or something, right? I think he should, I don't know, apply for visa any other Western countries. He can even he can put his channel as an example, like look, right? I don't agree with Russian things like this, what Russian government is doing. Since I left and I'm this like a online presence in that way, I really need to I don't know, I need a safe haven or whatever. Yeah, I think some other European country would see that as like, okay, makes sense.
One, open up the service wishing victory to the soldiers on the fronts. So yes, this is like a governmental service now. You can pay for your parking tickets, book a visit to a doctor, and wish victory to the warriors in the special military operation. Okay, write a short wish, send your application, it will be checked, printed on a postcard, and sent to the fronts. Well, I just don't think I will, personally. Sounds like fun and stuff, but I just don't think I will. So here's another one which I got literally just a week later after this. The people change the country. Submit some ideas to develop Russia. Hello, using the platform Strong
Don't do
Ideas
special
for a
military
new
operation.
time, anybody can submit an idea, a socially relevant initiative or a project, and make their own impact on developing the country. So essentially this is an email about another program where people can submit their ideas on how to make Russia better. The thing is, I don't think the Russian government is gonna like my ideas on how to make Russia better. Because it involves them not existing, that's like a big part of it. So I just don't think they would like to hear my ideas, so I guess I'm just gonna keep it to myself. Here's another one I got on May 3rd, Day of Remembrance of those who passed away in Odessa. On the 2nd of May of 2014, a terrible tragedy happened that we have no right to forget. The Odessa version of Khatin, in a fire which a part of our Russian world has died. And then here we have a little poem by Olga Starushko from a book of poetry called Поэзия русского лета, which means poetry of the Russian summer. Мертвых некому оплакать, столб огня и дыма подымался над всеми запертыми в храме. Как бы ни летело время, жжется это пламя. The poem is dog shit. First of all, and at the bottom here it says, this date concerns all of us. I'm sure a lot of you guys have no idea what this email is actually talking about, so essentially they're talking about the trade union's house fire that happened in Odessa, Ukraine on the 2nd of May of 2014. This was pretty much the time after the revolution in Ukraine.
Yeah, did they just say like, okay, part of Russia? This happened in part of Russia when they're talking about Odessa, Ukraine? Yeah, okay. So some of the words can be like, I get, what is their end goal? They're going to annex Ukraine completely? Is that what they're envisioning? Like when everything's done, maybe they win? That's what they're thinking? They're going to annex entire Ukraine now? Is that what's going to happen?
Ukraine, and it was a time where a bunch of pro-Russian forces were doing pro-Russian protests in eastern Ukraine, and there were also pro-Maidan Ukrainians there, and essentially all turned into a huge clash, during which a large amount of these pro-Russian supporters essentially got locked up in this trade union's house building. A fire started in the building, and some of these people died. So essentially this was part of this whole series of events at that time in eastern Ukraine, where essentially these pro-Russian protesters that a lot of the times were backed, funded by the Russian governments, or a lot of the times
it's in the front of statue of Lenin. Oh God, what is the view of any Russian or any Soviet countries, post-Soviet countries or whatever? What is their view on Lenin? Because everything everything I read, right, all the literature on things, right, actually seeing the communist philosophy and everything. Yeah, Lenin did way too much damage, right? I mean, there's no other way around it. You could see positive things from it. But look, Russia is not like one of the top economical countries right now, and there's a reason behind it. You can't really deny that Russia has potential for many, let's just say, innovation and invention, right? They are first at a lot of things, right? Rocket formula, right? There's lots of firsts, like, table and everything. I don't know, the chemistry table, but recently, why USA is on top, right? information technology, right? Computers, chips, and lots of other innovation that really put USA on top, right? Like top at really top, like second cannot even come close. Russia could have been that if not for all the Soviet suppression and things like that, right? All this socialist suppression and things. If that wasn't there, and if this was really like, capitalist style of country where free ideas can flourish, if you make money, I make money type of thing, there would have been a lot of innovations. And feel like all the things that is happening right now wouldn't have happened if Russia was kind of like top 3 rich country in the world.
Even sent from Russia. But these people essentially tried to stir up some separatist ideas in the people of Eastern Ukraine to basically join Russia. And essentially Russian propaganda turned this story into a sort of a classic Z lore, you know what I mean? It's like a classic propaganda tale about how, the terrible Ukrainian Nazis, burnt a bunch of, Russians in that building. So, essentially they're all Nazis and, everything Russia's doing is completely justified. And the story has been twisted and turned so many times by Russian propaganda at this point, right? And here in this email we have Gossugi calling this event the Odessa version of Khatyn. Now if you guys are not aware of what Khatyn is, you should watch Come and See, I guess. But basically Khatyn was a village in Belarus that was destroyed by the SS Dirly Wanger brigades during the Second World War, and essentially hundreds of people were burned alive. And here we have Gossugi comparing the events in Odessa in 2014 and essentially comparing Ukrainians to literal Nazis, and comparing these Odessa clashes to genocide perpetrated by the Nazis in Belarus. Absolutely fucking distasteful. I mean, what I even gotta say here? I have no words. I honestly have no words. Like, what is this if not like utmost disrespect for Soviet and Russian history? This is a fucking joke. So yes, these are also the kinds of emails you get.
Look, man, you can't really just compare things to Nazis and Hitler. That's like, lessening the effect of it. Like, people constantly throw out the word like Nazis and this. What you're doing is like, I don't know, thinning the waters. I don't know how to say that, like, diluting it. Like, this kind of words are, like, Nazis and Hitler were really fucked up, that the smallest thing that I guess you wouldn't even see on the, front of any book, you have to really peel it through, like, what other tragedies they did, would be a very big tragedy today. They were that level of fucked up, right? If you can just throw around word like Nazis and Hitler, because that would lessen the effect of it going in the future. Like, people say that all the time. That's kind of fucked up, man, right? All the tragedies that happened in World War II were really horrific, right? You are kind of hurting that memory every time you just pull that word for smallest things.
As a Russian citizen, if you're trying to use a website that allows you to book a doctor appointment, absolutely ridiculous. Let's check out some more. Become a participant of the anniversary edition of the Victory Quiz. Hello, on the 27th of April of 2023, a patriotic event known as the Quiz of Victory is going to be conducted. 20 winners will be invited to Moscow for the Day of Victory in 2024. Join in order to check your knowledge about the military history of Russia. So yeah, they were throwing some kind of nationwide quiz
ongoing
about,
history,
World War II or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the correct answers in this quiz are not going to be historically correct answers. They're going to be more so historically correct answers according to the Russian government. But I was like, can you imagine any other of the allied nations that, had their parts in destroying Nazi Germany, conducting something like this and then like spamming its citizens to promote it? This is insane, man. Here's another good one that I like. Let's help the defenders and their families. All Russian campaign hashtag we're in this together. Hello, the volunteers of hashtag we're in this together are helping out the mobilized and their family.
I like how Russia bans like Facebook and all this American social media, and at the same time they're still like hashtagging things. Like, okay, that's just weird, right? Hashtag this, hashtag that. By the way, we hate American social media. Like, where do you think hashtag comes from?
So yeah, the mobilized are the defenders of Russia, because of course Russia, had to be defended. Because what is happening right now is defended. I mean, actually what is happening right now might be defended, because because Russia is just like a failed state at this point. Like, Kyiv in 3 days, my ass. Which is great, by the way, because I wouldn't want them to actually get Kyiv in 3 days. So yeah, here it basically says that you can get help from volunteers if you've been mobilized or if somebody from your family has been mobilized. So go out there, guys. We got you, right? That's the whole meaning of this email. So, another great one. Here's another good one, which I got when Russia banned Instagram. Since the directors of the social network Instagram, in violation of international law, that's something Russia cares a lot about, by the way. International law, something Russia has never violated in its history. For the first time in history, has allowed hate speech only directed at Russians. The General Prosecution of Russia has decided to ban this social network in Russia. Inciting violence towards people, essentially based on their citizenship or their nationality, is part of a crime that is characterized as a genocide. So essentially, according to them, Instagram allowing users to shit on Russians is characterized as genocide. I mean, here's the thing, guys. I've personally talked about this previously in the video, and I said that this is kind of like a slippery slope and stuff. And personally, I believe that this move makes sense in regards to, essentially allowing Ukrainians to expose what is actually going on and sort of, vent. Because I do think it would be kind of, cynical if Ukraine...
I think, look, it's next. Look, banning any form of social media needs to be justified. Like, is the threat to, security of the country or something like that? Is there a spy issue there, right? If you're gonna ban just because people said mean things about things, that's not good, man. Now you're just choosing, you're dictating things. That's not good, right? Like in India, TikTok is banned not because they didn't like anything, no, because they found actual issues with the security of things, right? So they banned TikTok, but everything else is fine. Every other social media is fine. So I don't know, man. Are they referring to Americans actually blaming Russians to interfering in the elections? Because I'm pretty sure many agencies came with the conclusion that Russia did interfere somewhat, right? At that point, people are like, oh, I don't believe this agency. Like, you can't just say that, like, I don't believe and everything's solved, right? I mean, that's kind of fucked up. Those agencies exist. Now, those agencies might not have a good track record, but those are your agency, your countries. I don't get the, whole detachment to, oh, this is agency I don't believe in. That's your agency, man. That's your country. So I don't know. It's understandable where people will be pissed off at something like that. But what is the point of banning something like that at that point? I guess they just they just want to create some kind of a wall, right? They just want social media from their own country to basically so they can send things like this. They don't want Western social media there so their citizens can see any other thing besides what Russian government want them to see.
On top of literally being bombs, would also get banned on Instagram for speaking out about what's going on, right? So that does make sense to me. However, in the overall sense, allowing hate speech towards Russians specifically is kind of weird. But anyway, that's not even the point. So here it says, we need to be able to guarantee the good mental health of our citizens. Guys, I would say that I am a good example that shows that Russia doing what they're doing is not exactly beneficial for the mental health of the Russian citizens. But yeah, we need to make sure to guarantee the good mental health of our citizens, first and foremost, kids and teenagers. Of course, why won't somebody think of the kids, Russia thinks about kids a lot. Defend them
they
from
want them
bullying
healthy
and
for
hate
their
speech online.
draft.
I would say by far the last paragraph is my favorite. Since Russia is a country that has its own very competitive online platforms, such as the social networks VK and Odnoklassniki. Yeah, Odnoklassniki is definitely a very competitive social network. Maybe if you're Baba Zina, который, блядь, 78...
I mean, VK, I've heard of VK, right? VK is one thing I heard that's good enough to actually get noticed by me, let's just say. I stay on top of it. I don't go in deep with anything. And if I heard of something okay, maybe it's big enough for me. So VK is fine in that way. I don't think I ever, seen VK's site or whatever. Is it something like Facebook or something? That's what I assumed. But yeah, I heard of it, so I'm guessing that would be good enough. I don't know.
8 лет, наверное, тогда Одноклассники это конкурентоспособная интернет-платформа, а иначе я хуй знает. Oh, боже. So yeah, VK and Одноклассники that reach out tens of millions of users, we hope that your transfer to these internet spaces happens quickly. And in perspective, you'll find new opportunities for communication and for running businesses. Your Roskomnadzor. Well, I don't really know what to say because as evidence has shown, nobody has fucking switched to VK and Одноклассники, from Instagram at least, because these are not even replacements for Instagram. And funnily enough, everybody still uses Instagram in Russia, even though Meta and Instagram are considered extremists in Russia now. Literally governmental officials still use Instagram in Russia. Regular people, I mean everybody. You just have to use a VPN, but everybody in Russia is still on Instagram, so this is just so pathetic.
I'm surprised Russian government didn't ban VPN. I'm pretty sure they can realize which server is a VPN server and they can ban it. I'm pretty sure Netflix does it well, right? Netflix is banning VPN left and right, doesn't let you use it. I'm pretty sure, right? As soon as it realizes you're using VPN, it will just try to ban it or something.
Like, this is really like a fucking post-breakup email type shit, you know what I mean? Like, when some dude got like broken up with and got blocked by his ex, he then still has more to say, so he goes and like finds the ex's email and sends her a message there. This is the fucking email that guy sends. It's just absolutely incredible, and that's like, you know, that's kind of like Russia's entire essence at this point. It's just this like, Russia is an incel of a country, really. Like, that's just how it feels. It's a toxic incel of a country that does, you know, a little shooting, and as a result, not only, you know, ruins the lives of others, but also ruins the lives of, you know, their family and the people closest to them. Wow, that was a great metaphor, guys. I'm very, very proud of myself. And it just goes on and on and on like this, and basically, I keep on getting more and more of these messages. And at least, you know, I'm glad that these are not, you know, military draft messages that I'm getting for now, but it's still pretty bad. So yes, these are the kinds of propaganda messages, propaganda emails that Russia bombards and spams its citizens with. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you had some fun watching me react.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it's gonna be something like draft or something directed at him, but it was like, you know, general messages that they send to the citizen. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he's like a, you know, 1 billion is like a big number for YouTube. And I feel like they might notice him, send some email or something. I bet they won't send this because they know he's like a YouTuber and probably just read the mail online on YouTube. So I guess they'll stay subtle, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, this is just after. If this escalates at a point where they need everybody and send drafts everywhere, yeah, he's going to get a draft soon. Yeah. Right, well, that was the Russian government sent me this by the channel NFKRZ. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. And there's another video he talked about, right? I haven't seen that. Like, I've seen a lot of videos, but yeah, there's like another interesting video. I forgot the title of it. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out soon as well. But yeah, right, I'll see you next time.